Hi everyone, it's Nikki here. Today I want to talk to you about the weight question. This is one of my favorite activities to do in classes. So, a few days ago, I had a friend of mine ask me about processing in our working memory. In class, for example, it is so difficult to process the chat, all the answers that are coming in so fast, all the technological things that are happening, plus teaching the content and dealing with classroom management aspects of things. So, all of that can take up a tremendous amount of space in our working memory. So one thing that I like to do to sort of combat that is I like to use the weight question. And what the weight question is I will pose a question to my students, and then as they are jotting down some notes in their notebook, I might ask them to refine their answers by writing a thoughtful response in the chat. Well, prior to submitting their answer so that everyone can see publicly, I will ask them to wait before they hit enter. So all the students are typing in the chat, but nothing is being seen. And then after some time has passed and the students have had enough time to process their answers and refine their answers and come up with thoughtful responses, then I will say, okay, press enter. As the chat floods with all the students' answers, I will say, okay, guys, I'm going to give you 2 minutes now to look over the answers of your classmates to see what they wrote and compare. I will also take that time to look over the students' answers so that I can prepare myself for the future discussion. Also, as a side note, during the wait time where the students are reading their classmates' answers, I will actually narrate the positive behavior that I see. Sometimes I have my students turn their cameras on. Sometimes I have them turned off. But in this case, most of the time I have their cameras turned on. The students will then be reading the comments in the chat box. They will be taking notes, things like that, whatever I've asked them to do. And then I will narrate that positive behavior. I'll say, Jill, thank you for taking notes. Ben, I see you reading the comments in the chat box. Thank you. So I will narrate the positive behaviors to help my students feel seen as they are participating in class. Those are some of the basic benefits of using the weight question. Now, as a result of using the weight question, you will see your class change in the following ways. The first thing is that you will see higher quality answers by all of your students. The reason why is because with a few extra moments or even minutes to process the information, the students are able to develop their thoughts more thoroughly. The next thing that you will see is higher participation during open discussions. So once I've had the students jot down some thoughts in their notebook and then refine their answers in the chat, and then read the answers of their classmates and compare their thoughts and maybe even take some notes on that. Then once I roll into an open discussion where I'm cold calling or accepting volunteers, I see that there's going to be a higher participation rate because now everyone, for the most part, is feeling much more confident in their answers and they're more willing to participate because they've had an adequate amount of time to develop their thought. The next thing that I've noticed in my class is increased student trust. And what I mean by that is their trust in my ability to be a good teacher for them in Zoom. In the classroom, I feel very comfortable with this, but in Zoom, it takes a lot of self-discipline to sit there in a Zoom class and be silent, right? So like I said before, I will narrate the positive behaviors to kind of keep myself disciplined so that I give the students time to actually read over the responses in the chat. And what this allows me to do is to be a better teacher for my students. They know that I'm not going to just accept the first answer that someone blurts out. I'm not asking them a question and then there's crickets, right? And then one brave soul, one brave student raises their hand because they want to break the silence and then I accept that answer, right? I'm allowing all of my students to participate and I'm showing them actively that learning is the goal. No matter how slow we have to go, no matter how fast we have to go, no matter what we're learning, education and learning is still the main goal. It is not to rush through things. And that helps to build the students' confidence in my ability to still teach effectively in the virtual environment. The next thing is that this will result in more symmetrical learning. As opposed to having 3 or 4 students dominate the conversation and be the ones who are primarily participating in your class, verbally anyway, this technique allows for all students to participate so that you can accurately gauge where your students are, how much they're learning, and how much they've progressed. This is why I like to use the weight question. If you have any specific questions for me about this, please feel free to ask. I look forward to speaking with you. Bye.